In this weather update, we're forecasting an overall break in severe weather for a lot of people, which is great. But we still are expecting severe weather today and tomorrow on the East Coast and the Mid-Atlantic, and also severe weather continuing up north into Minnesota and possibly into the East Coast as we go later into this week. We are seeing a little bit of shift from severe weather south into parts of the Ohio Valley through the southern Midwest into the southern regions of the United States, up north at least for the time being. It's also going to be pretty rainy in the East Coast. All of that is coming right up. All right, welcome back into another More Weather Forecast video. My name is Becca Moore, and yesterday we did see an enhanced risk for severe weather in southern and central Missouri and northern Arkansas. We did see storms into Kansas, strong storms into Kansas, and strong storms into Missouri, and also did have flash flooding. Now we're kind of switching over to that river flooding down here into southern Missouri as well. So people are tracking that down there in southern Missouri. Yeah, but we do have flooding down there, so we did have moderate risk for excessive rainfall. But now we have to move on to today, tomorrow, and the next day, and even farther than that. Let's get straight into the forecast. Looking at the European model, this is around 10 a.m., so an hour before I made this video. Of course, the European model doesn't run like the other high-resolution models. It has a couple runs every day, but it's not like the H-bar, the NAM 3 kilometer. The NAM 3 kilometer is a little bit closer to the European model, but it's not all like the H-bar with, at every hour we got to run. So going into around 12 p.m. today, we do see storms again here into the Mid-Atlantic, Eastern Coast region, and we do have this little notch here into in the jet stream into Minnesota, Iowa, Wisconsin here, and that's going to move east. Here's the low pressure center, and that's going to bring, again, severe weather today and tonight throughout this region here in this area of the Mid-Atlantic and Appalachian region. And as that moves east, we could see some cooler temperatures, obviously not winter-like, but maybe some fall-like temperatures throughout this Great Lakes region. We do have that little notch in the jet stream there. Also storms down here into Florida, Georgia, a lot of what we've been seeing, mesoscale convective systems. So this is by the time we go into tomorrow, late tomorrow. We've got not much going on. We are expecting some severe weather throughout this region from South Carolina up into the Delmarva there, into Maryland and Delaware. And then as we go into Wednesday, we are expecting some severe weather up here into Minnesota and into Canada here, as well as another little notch comes down into the Great Lakes regions here. Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Michigan are all going to be dealing with some of that there. Some cooler temperatures, definitely not an Arctic cold blast like some of that clickbait you'll see out there on the internet. We're not seeing an Arctic cold blast in the summer, but we will see some cooler than average temperatures, and this is as far as this run of the European high-resolution model goes. And so we're probably going to see severe weather as we go into later this week into this region. If not severe weather, at least raininess into the Great Lakes region, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, all the way through the Northeast, including New York, Boston, over towards Buffalo in the inland interior northeastern region. So we're definitely going to be having to watch out for that. But overall, we're going to see a break in the severe weather throughout this region for the most part. Obviously in the south, we're going to see those summertime, mesoscale convective systems, all of that. We are likely going to see that heat dome kind of move over into the Midwest by the time we keep on going in the coming days into next week. And so we're going to start seeing those hot temperatures in places like St. Louis, Chicago, up towards Minneapolis, here in the Dakotas, down towards Kansas City, really in this Midwestern region. We are going to start seeing that heat build up as we're still going to see it in the south. It's likely still going to be hot up here in the Pacific Northwest, but it will likely shift over here into the Midwest as we go into the coming days and into next week. So now let's look at the SPC Outlook for today, and there is a slight risk for severe weather stretching from eastern Tennessee all the way to southern New Jersey. This includes Washington, D.C. It also includes near Louisville, Kentucky. Doesn't include Louisville, but to the east of Louisville, Kentucky, almost the whole state of West Virginia and a lot of Virginia and parts of northern North Carolina. We do have a 5% chance for tornadoes, so a tornado 2 can't be ruled out over here into the Delmarva region, as well as Philadelphia is included in that, as well as Baltimore. Hail outlook, not a big hail day, but still some hail can be possible. We're not expecting much according to the Storm Prediction Center with this 5%. And then damaging winds, that's going to be the biggest threat, as it usually is in these setups. And that's going to be from, again, Tennessee to southern New Jersey in this pretty large actually, slight risk for today. So let's time this out using the HRRR model, looking at around 2 p.m. today. As we go into 3 p.m. here, 20Z, again, this is Zulu time, but I'm just saying it for you so you guys can interpret this. But by the time we go into around 3 p.m., we're seeing some storms fire off here into Indiana, near Chicago as well. Rainy day in Chicago, as well as into parts of Michigan. As we go into around 5 p.m. here, you can see we do have those storms popping off, coming into places like Ohio, into Kentucky, down here into Tennessee here as well. And as we keep going into the nighttime hours, this here, by the time we go into 9 p.m., we are seeing some storms over here into Virginia. Washington, D.C. could be under the gun today, as well as Baltimore, Maryland for storms by the time we go into late tonight and into early tomorrow morning. So here's 12 a.m. Early tomorrow morning on Tuesday, and you can see we do have some rain traveling up northeast, so a lot of rain into the northeast, into New York, and eventually going into Boston by the time we go into later. That's all I can look at the HRRR for now, but mainly what we're watching out for, damaging winds. A tornado 2 can't be ruled out in this area. I wouldn't expect it, but I think it can't be ruled out, so still need to be on guard. But throughout this slight risk area, you really just need to be prepared for damaging winds, raininess, check the radar while you are outdoors. So now looking at tomorrow, we do have a pretty conditional threat for severe weather like today, but I would say even more conditional than today. Over here from the Delmarva, very small slight risk here from southern Delaware and here in the Delmarva down towards northeastern North Carolina here. So let's time this threat out looking at the NAM 3-kilometer model. It goes a little bit farther out than the HRRR does. So as we keep going, as we go into tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern time, so this is 6 p.m. Eastern time, by the time we go into around 7 p.m., during these nighttime and evening hours while you're eating dinner over here, in the Chesapeake Bay area, down towards Virginia Beach, all the way towards Raleigh, down towards Greenville, North Carolina. Again, miles aren't gospel. I'm not saying this is exactly what's going to happen, but you still need to be on guard if you're towards Richmond, Virginia, down towards Greenville, North Carolina, and Raleigh, North Carolina here as well. So as we keep playing this into the pretty late nighttime hours into 9, 10 p.m., we're just going to see a good amount of storms set up, so that could mean some flash flooding definitely in this region as we have training of rain and storms. Likely storms are going to weaken as we go into the nighttime hours, so I would say 6 to 9 p.m. is really when you need to be worried about those storms. I mean, I don't want you to be worried, but just be on guard. Make sure damaging winds is probably going to be the biggest threat here. We're not really expecting a big day for severe weather at all here. So a couple of storms, some raininess through Virginia Beach, again, down towards Raleigh, Greenville, Jacksonville, North Carolina here, and then as we go into early on Wednesday, that will clear out, but we will be having to watch for a flash flooding threat through this area as well as we go into tomorrow. So flash flooding, some severe storms is what you're going to be wanting to watch out for. And then on Wednesday, we do have a slight risk for severe weather, including Minneapolis and St. Paul regions, as well as Duluth. The immediate Duluth metro there here into the upper Midwest. Again, like I showed with the European model, we're likely going to see some severe weather across this region as we go into later this week. Damaging winds are going to be possible. Hail, we saw big time hail on Friday in Minnesota. I actually just saw a clip of this golf course just decimated by it, unfortunately. So yeah, we are going to see some severe weather, some raininess here in this region. A little bit of a break, which is nice from severe weather in this region, so in this region where we've been seeing it a lot, but we are also going to see a lot of heat in that region there in the Midwest and the South as well, which is not good news, but it's the summer and we've got a huge heat wave going on, so that's what we're talking about. Looking at the next 72 hours of precipitation, this is in inches. We are expecting a rainy next 72 hours here along the East Coast, Florida, which has been getting a lot of precipitation with this El Nino setup since spring. We are seeing a ton of that, up to 4 inches in some isolated spots in southern Florida, but pretty much the whole state from 1 inch to, again, 4 inches in some isolated spots. Georgia, South Carolina, and North Carolina, those coastal and inland marshland regions, are going to be definitely seeing some a lot of rain, especially in this region. Again, we're going to have to watch out for some flash flooding tomorrow. And then as we go into up here into New York City, up here into New Jersey, we're also going to be seeing that up there as well. So just a rainy East Coast here in the next 72 hours. Also up here into the upper Midwest, like I said, as we go into the next couple of days, we are going to see more rain up here into the upper Midwest and Great Lakes region. And then, of course, monsoon season over here into Arizona, New Mexico, that Four Corners region, Utah, Colorado, again, Arizona, and New Mexico. We could see a tropical system. I didn't have time to look at the tropics in this video, but we could see a tropical system in the Pacific come up and go into SoCal, Southern California, here into where we're seeing the monsoon season right now. Sorry about that. Here into Arizona and New Mexico, but a lot of models now are pointing to it going off to sea towards Hawaii. Could it affect Hawaii? Yes, we could definitely see some rain in Hawaii where we've seen those just devastating wildfires, but for now, we are just having this rain here. I don't have high confidence that storm's going to go into Southern California, into Arizona, but we're going to watch. But there's 2 tracks that it could take. It could take this track off to the west, or it could take a track off to the east. Right now, I'm leaning towards that track off to the west. So that about wraps up this more weather forecast video. I hope you enjoyed it. Again, this is my 3rd one, so I'm really getting back into it here. Again, I will be on the Stormfront Freaks podcast this Thursday, August 17th, 8 p.m. Central Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Time on Stormfront Freaks YouTube. And then the podcast comes out the following weekend. So the following weekend, the podcast audio episode comes out on all your favorite podcast areas like Apple Podcasts, all of that. That comes out the following weekend. But the live stream, we're all live stream 8 p.m. Central Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Again, Stormfront Freaks YouTube. Make sure you subscribe. Go follow me on Twitter. Be prepared for that possible flash flooding into the east and those severe storms the next couple of days into the mid-Atlantic and up north. And I will see you soon with more weather.